All right, diving in today, folks, we're looking at something a little different. A plan, actually, for the last push, the final month, of a pretty serious fitness journey. We're talking about the Rock Hard Challenge, month 3 training, specifically. From, let's see, the June 2003 issue of Muscle and Fitness.
Yep, that's the one.
Now, this isn't just your average workout routine, right? This is like the peak. It's the culmination of a full 12 weeks of dedication, and these last 4 weeks are where supposedly you really see the maximum impact.
Oh, absolutely. What I find so interesting here is, they're really presenting this material as like the ultimate guide for that final push.
Yeah.
So you're getting like concentrated advice here, right? Straight from a dedicated fitness publication.
Right.
Giving you very specific strategies for both training and nutrition.
Right.
As you're, hitting this final phase, which, let's be honest, is often the most challenging.
Oh, without a doubt.
Most people, they start to lose steam around this point.
Oh, yeah. You've been going hard for 2 months already.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you reached out to us specifically about this month 3 plan. Our mission today, as requested, is to really dissect these strategies.
Okay.
We're going to try to pull out the absolute essential tactics to help you maximize your progress in these last few weeks of, let's face it, a pretty intense program.
Yeah.
We'll be exploring both the adjustments you need to make to your workouts and the absolutely crucial nutritional guidance that comes along with it.
Right.
Always try to make sure we understand the underlying principles, right?
Absolutely. Got to know the why behind the way.
Exactly. Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. If we step back, what's the overall game plan for this final month?
Well, one thing that really jumps out right off the bat is their emphasis on sticking with what's working.
Okay.
They actually use the phrase, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Right.
When talking about, the core of your workouts.
Okay, so they're saying you've built this foundation over the first 2 months.
Exactly.
You don't need to completely reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said for that, especially in terms of psychology, right?
Yeah.
You're coming to the end of a program, you might be feeling some fatigue.
You're tired.
Exactly, and throwing a whole bunch of new stuff at you, it might actually be counterproductive.
Yeah, you don't want to overwhelm yourself.
No, not at all.
You don't want to shock your system. So it's more about building on that established foundation.
Right.
But then they do talk about, like, really cranking up the intensity.
Oh, yeah, that's where the burn comes in.
Yeah, they're saying you want to set your metabolism to burn, which sounds demanding.
It is. And that's a clue to the primary goal here, which is maximizing your body's calorie burning potential.
Right.
During this final phase. This is likely intended to encourage your body to tap into those fat reserves, more efficiently.
Yeah, burn that fat.
But, and this is crucial, they emphasize preserving the muscle mass you've built over the previous 2 months.
So it's not just about losing weight.
No, it's about getting leaner while maintaining that muscle.
Right. Getting that defined look. And of course, they're dangling a little carrot too, right?
Oh, you mean the California trip?
Yeah. For those who are actually participating in the Reader Challenge.
A little extra motivation can definitely help you dig deep in those final weeks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty here.
Let's do it.
The weight training, specifically.
Right.
What adjustments are they recommending for month 3 to really amplify those results?
The fundamental approach actually remains pretty consistent. Lifting as heavy as you can manage, with good form, of course, within specific repetition ranges.
Okay, so that core principle stays the same.
Exactly. Now, for weeks 9 and 11, the target is 6 to 8 reps per set.
Right.
But week 10 involves a slight shift to 8 to 10 reps.
Okay, interesting. So slight variation there. What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, they are very clear about their reasoning, and it all comes down to safeguarding that hard-earned muscle mass. They specifically advise against switching to like high rep endurance focused work.
Right.
Because that could actually lead to your body using muscle protein for energy.
Oh, that's not what we want.
No, it's not. It works against your goal of, getting leaner while maintaining your muscle.
Okay, so you're saying we don't want to sacrifice muscle in these final weeks.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Now, they are incorporating more drop sets, right?
Yeah, they're upping the ante with those.
For those who might not be familiar, can you explain exactly how a drop set works?
Sure. A drop set is basically performing an exercise, let's say, with a weight that allows you to complete about 4 to 5 heavy reps.
Okay.
Immediately after hitting near failure, you reduce the weight, usually by 10 to 20%,
Got it.
often with the help of a training partner, and you continue doing another 5 reps without any rest.
Wow, so you're basically pushing past that initial fatigue by dropping the weight.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Now, in month 3, they specifically include drop sets on leg day with the leg press, on push day with the incline dumbbell press, and on pull day with the bent over barbell row.
Got it. So very targeted. Why are drop sets so effective, especially at this stage of the program?
Well, the main idea is to target a broader spectrum of muscle fibers within a single set.
I see.
So, the heavier weight at the start, that primarily engages your fast-twitch muscle fibers.
Right. Those are the power fibers.
Exactly.
Oh.
Then, as you decrease the weight and keep going, you're further stimulating your slower twitch fibers.
Got it. The endurance ones.
Exactly. So it's a really efficient way to achieve more comprehensive muscle fiber recruitment
Okay. So you're hitting all the different types of muscle fibers.
in one set. And
Yeah.
that can lead to greater overall muscle stimulation in a shorter period of time.
Interesting. You're making the most of each set.
That's the goal, especially in this final push phase.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about the exercises that don't involve drop sets? Are the repetition ranges the same throughout the whole month?
Not quite. There's a subtle but significant variation. Remember, weeks 9 and 11, you're doing 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps.
Mm-hmm.
But then in week 10, that rep range bumps up slightly to 8 to 10 reps.
Okay.
And that'll probably require you to use a bit less resistance.
Gotcha. So a slight deload in intensity.
Exactly. But it's still providing enough stimulus for muscle maintenance.
Right. You don't want to lose any progress.
Then in week 11, the goal is to try and increase that resistance back up to the levels you were using in week 9.
Oh, okay.
So you're challenging those muscles again.
Got it. So you're preventing them from adapting too much.
Right. And alongside this, they also recommend a slight increase in the volume of your cardio workouts.
All right, let's talk cardio then. They have 3 distinct options, cardio A, B, and C. What's the difference between those approaches?
Okay, so cardio A is pretty straightforward. It's continuous, moderate intensity exercise.
Okay.
5-minute warm-up. Then a sustained period of 35 to 45 minutes of something like running, cycling, elliptical. And then you finish with a 5-minute cool down.
Got it. Pretty standard.
Cardio B, though, introduces interval training.
Okay.
Specifically 1-minute bursts of high intensity like sprinting.
Right.
With 2-minute periods of lower intensity recovery, so maybe jogging.
So you're going hard, then backing off a bit.
Exactly. And that cycle repeats for a total of 27 to 30 minutes after your warm-up and before your cool-down, of course.
Makes sense.
Cardio C is another form of interval training, but with even shorter bursts of intensity, 30-second sprints followed by 1-minute jog recoveries.
Okay, so shorter bursts, longer recovery.
Right. And that's done for a total of 25 minutes.
Got it. So you've got a mix of steady state for that sustained calorie burn and then those high-intensity intervals to really spike your heart rate.
Exactly.
Now, week 12 throws a curveball, right?
Yeah.
Compound exercise triceps. What's going on there?
Week 12 is all about really strategic shifts. It's whole body workouts performed as trisets. So on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, instead of focusing on individual muscle groups each workout, you're doing a sequence of 3 different exercises.
Okay.
1 each from the legs, pull, and push workouts, back to back, without any rest in between.
Wow. Okay, so you're hitting multiple muscle groups at once.
That's the idea. That sequence, those 3 exercises, that's your tricep.
Got it.
And it's likely aimed at maximizing calorie expenditure, creating one final big metabolic push.
Okay, so it's about efficiency and intensity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the rep scheme for these week 12 workouts?
Okay, so for the first 2 rounds of each tricep, it's 8 to 12 reps for each exercise.
Right.
You do all 3 exercises, that's 1 round. Then you get a 2-minute rest before repeating the entire tricep.
Okay.
And you're doing a total of 3 triceps on each of those training days.
3 rounds total. Gotcha.
Now, round 3, the 3rd tricep, gets really intense.
Oh, yeah.
They introduce 2 drop sets on each exercise,
Yeah.
except for squats. So after you do the initial set of 8 to 12 reps, you reduce the weight, do more reps, and then reduce the weight again for one final set.
Wow. So you're really emptying the tank.
Yeah, but they emphasize the importance of having a spotter for these drop sets.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're pushing close to failure like that.
Safety first.
Always.
So what are the actual trisets for each day?
For the leg tricep, it's barbell squats, followed by leg presses, and then hack squats.
Got it.
For the pull tricep, it's pull downs to the front, bent over barbell rows, and barbell shrugs.
Okay.
And the push tricep is bench press, incline dumbbell press, and seated dumbbell shoulder press.
So you're hitting all the major muscle groups with high intensity in a short amount of time.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the nutrition strategies for this final month.
Okay, good idea. One thing they mentioned specifically is not to drastically cut calories. Why is that?
Right, and this is important. They really emphasize that severely reducing your calorie intake at this point can actually be counterproductive. You could end up losing muscle mass, which is the opposite of what you want.
Right. You've worked so hard to build that muscle.
Plus, it can mess with your mood and energy levels.
Yeah, you need to feel good to keep up this intensity.
Exactly. So instead of drastic cuts, the focus is on fine-tuning the quality of your food.
Makes sense. So smarter choices, not just less food.
Exactly.
The first strategy they highlight is hydration.
Yeah.
Why is water so important in this last month?
Well, as you increase the intensity of your exercise, your metabolic rate goes up.
Right.
And that leads to a higher body temperature.
Huh?
Your body cools itself down by sweating, and if you don't replace those fluids, you get dehydrated.
Yeah, that's not good.
No. And they even quote Melinda Minor and Janice Thompson, who say that dehydration can really impair your physiological function, reduce your work capacity, and affect your overall health.
So it's not just about feeling thirsty, it's about performance and well-being.
Exactly. They recommend drinking water before, during, and after both your weight training and your cardio.
Okay, stay hydrated.
And they give a handy rule of thumb from Jim Stapani. Take your body weight in pounds, divide by 2. That's roughly the ounces of water you should aim to drink each day.
That's easy to remember. The second strategy is eating at home more often. What's the advantage there?
Control.
Control over what?
Over your portion sizes and ingredients.
Okay.
Even if you make healthy choices at restaurants, portions can be bigger than you realize.
Right, and you don't always know what's going into the food.
Exactly. By cooking at home, you know exactly what you're getting and how much.
So it's about taking charge of your nutrition.
Precisely. And they suggest continuing to cook lean proteins in bulk, like chicken, turkey, and eggs.
Okay, that makes sense. Meal prep is key.
They even mention countertop grills as a great way to cook chicken breasts quickly.
Yeah, those are handy. So strategy number 3 is about carbs. Interestingly, they caution against going low carb.
Right. This is super important.
Why is that? A lot of people think cutting carbs is the key to fat loss.
It's a common misconception. This plan actually emphasizes the importance of carbs for energy and muscle preservation.
Interesting. So they're saying carbs are your friend, even when you're trying to lean down.
Absolutely. They even quote Mark Castleman, who says, "Fat burns in a carbohydrate flame."
Okay, so you need carbs to burn fat efficiently.
Exactly. If you don't eat enough carbs, your body starts using muscle protein for energy.
That's bad. No.
It is. It hinders muscle growth and recovery, and it reduces your ability to train hard.
So what kind of carb adjustments are they recommending?
It's all about choosing the right types of carbs.
Okay.
They say to prioritize whole grains over refined carbohydrates.
Right.
So things like whole wheat pasta and bread, brown rice, oats instead of processed cereal bars, sugary cereals, white bread.
Got it. More fiber, more nutrients.
Exactly. They even advise you to check food labels to make sure whole wheat is the first ingredient, and there are at least 4 grams of fiber per serving.
Okay, that's a good tip. And what about if you feel like you need an extra push for fat loss?
They suggest maybe swapping 1 serving of grains for a serving of fruits or vegetables each day.
Okay, so subtle adjustments to the macronutrient balance.
Exactly. Now, the final nutrition strategy focuses on limiting sodium intake, especially in week 12.
Okay, why is that important?
Well, excess sodium makes you retain water,
Right.
which can obscure your muscle definition, especially if you're taking those after photos.
You want to look your best in those photos.
Exactly. So they recommend avoiding high sodium foods like frozen meals, fast food, Chinese takeout, canned soups, processed snacks, basically anything that comes in a box or a bag.
The whole fresh foods are the way to go.
Absolutely. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean protein.
What about dairy?
If you tolerate dairy well, low fat or fat-free is okay, but minimize it if it causes bloating.
Got it. So eat super clean and drink lots of water.
That's the key for those final photos. They
Yeah.
even suggest using a self-tanner to even out your skin tone.
Every little detail counts.
Absolutely. Now, they also briefly mention the contest information and some sample meal plans.
Right, let's touch on those.
For the Rock Hard Challenge contest, you need before and after photos from month 2 and month 3.
Okay.
Front and side views, wearing a bathing suit or workout clothes.
I do.
You also need to track your progress in the training log they provide and submit everything by June 11th, 2003.
Okay, so documentation is key. What about the meal plans?
They include sample meal plans for 1,600, 1,800, and 2,100 calories, designed by a registered dietitian named Susan Kundrat.
Okay.
They emphasize lean proteins, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, all the good stuff.
Right.
And they even include notes about substitutions for lactose intolerance.
Very thorough.
And then there's the training log, which is more than just a workout tracker.
What else does it do?
It lays out your entire month 3 schedule with all the exercises, sets, reps, and cardio.
Right.
It also has sections for tracking your nutrition goals.
Okay.
And it's a key part of the contest entry as proof that you followed the program.
So to sum it all up, month 3 of this Rock Hard Challenge is about really focused intensification.
Right. It's about pushing harder, but also smarter.
We've got drop sets, trisets, specific rep ranges, and a huge emphasis on nutrition.
Hydration, whole foods, mindful carb choices, and limiting sodium.
It's about taking all the work you've done in the first 2 months and really maximizing those results.
Exactly. This final phase is all about pushing to your potential and solidifying all that effort you've put in.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. Of all these strategies, the intense training, the specific nutrition, or just that commitment to consistency, what do you think will have the biggest impact on reaching your goals?
It's a great question.
And even more importantly, how can you apply these principles beyond this challenge?
Right. How can you maintain that focus and intensity in your ongoing fitness journey?
Something to think about. That's all the time we have for this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.
We catch you next time.